My dear students and learners, good morning, and very happy to moving to my 36th video and of course 18th video of third unit of engineering thermodynamics for second year mechanical engineering students. And till the last video we have covered the properties of pure substances as the first part of third unit, and of course we have started the second part as vapor power cycles, in which we are now dealing about Rankine cycles and its efficiency and various thermal device SFEE equations were derived, and now we are entering into actual vapor power cycle processes. What is this actual vapor cycle processes? Okay, by the name itself you come to know this is not that which we are going to discuss today is not ideal cycle processes. Okay, these are all not ideal cycle processes. That is, as we have assumed that reversibility, reversible isentropic process, reversible constant pressure heating, reversible constant pressure heat addition, heat rejection, okay, reversible adiabatic process, okay, all are assumed that they are all following the criteria of reversibility, and they are very perfect in their working condition in such a way that they are yielding and working out with their maximum efficiency. Like that we have studied the ideal conditions till the last video. Now we are moving to the actual cycle processes. How these actual processes are would be different than ideal vapor cycle processes. Okay. Now here this slide shows you a very clear TS diagram about the Rankine cycle, in which you know very well 1 to 2 meant for reversible adiabatic expansion from the turbine, from the super level of superheated steam is being expanded and it has become a wet steam, and now at the condition of 2 it is entering into the condenser. 2 to 3 constant pressure cooling takes place, and now latent heat of vaporization has been removed from the steam and it has been converted to saturated liquid now, and 3 to 4 compress of reversible adiabatic or isentropic isentropic compression takes place from 3 to 4, in which here that's what here we are getting. The straight vertical line shows the entropy remains constant, and 4 to 1 4 to 1 the whole process shown here from 4 to 1. All the three lines are meaning for heat addition at constant pressure. So this line from 4 to 1 meant for constant pressure. Okay, but okay, from 4 to you just to think the point where this line is intersecting the saturated liquid line. Okay, here if it is a point O means then 4 to O is sensible heat addition, and O to here if it is O dash means that meant for latent heat of vaporization. Here sensible heat is being added and then latent heat is given to the steam, so that the phase change occurs here and all the saturated liquid would be transformed to dry saturated steam, and again further heating takes place at constant pressure and increasing the quality or removing the water vapor, and further heating takes place so that the dry saturated steam would become superheated steam. Again expansion, cooling, compression, heating, expansion, cooling, compression, heating. All these three lines meant for heating, that you try to understand. And now here they have shaded the whole portion. Here you just think this 1 2 3 4, this area covered by this TTS diagram is giving you the work done by the cycle. And then here the rectangle box shown in 3 2 5 6 give you the total amount of heat rejected during the cooling process in the condenser when the wet steam was converted into saturated liquid, by which only it is possible to increase the pressure of the liquid and to make the flow towards the boiler. Okay, and it has to reach, or it has to match with the boiler pressure. And of course we have to supply with high pressure and high temperature if to the boiler, means then it would be better performance can be achieved from the boiler. Okay, so here it shows the net work done and the heat removed. And now two more definitions. Already we have derived the equations for various SFE equation for all the thermal devices, all the four devices. And of course a thermal efficiency equation for Rankine cycle also derived in the last video. And now two more important definitions is yet to learn, because we have to know how much amount of steam is required to produce 1 kilowatt of power. Okay, what is the end requirement, or what is the purpose of whatever the various processes which you are working? What is the purpose of burning the coal? Why you are converting water into steam? Why it is expanded in the steam and again condensing, again pumping, again further heating is takes place, and you are making a cycle of processes. You are working more and more costly equipment, and it is very harmful and dangerous equipments also in the power plant. Final end point where you are going to meet is you are going to get the useful work or work done by this particular cycle of steam, which would be received by us as power. Power means nothing but electrical energy. Okay, so final aim is to get the electrical energy in terms of, power is being measured in terms of kilowatt, right? So how much amount of steam is required to produce the power? Okay, initial place steam to power. How much amount of steam is required is defined by steam rate. The amount of steam required to produce the unit power is called steam rate. It is nothing but it is also known as specific steam consumption. Another name for steam rate is specific steam consumption, is defined as the flow rate of steam per unit kilowatt of power developed. So here we can define this is a steam flow rate by power output. Steam flow rate by power output. So we can write in terms of 1 by net work done. Okay, net work done. So that you can write here 1 by WT minus WP in terms of kilograms per kilowatt, kilograms per second per kilowatt. So that is also equal to 3600. That is here now you are converting the kilogram per second into kilojoules per hour. So 3600 per net work done in kilojoules per kilowatt hour. Okay. Then next, this is another one more expression which is needed to learn how much amount of heat rate First definition is about steam rate. Steam, how much amount of steam is required. Here, before the steam production, first process is supplying the heat. So a little bit enlarging the limit so that initial is heat supply, final is power output. So how much amount of heat rate is required to produce unit work output is defined as heat rate, which is also equal to steam rate into Q1 will give you 3600 into Q1 by WT minus WP. Here you can able to see this Q1 divided by WT minus WP is the exact a reverse of that is reciprocal of cycle efficiency. So thus final equation could be 3600 by cycle efficiency in kilojoules per kilowatt hour. Okay. Now next, let me introduce about the various vapor cycle processes. Okay, actual vapor cycle processes that already in this video, in the during the starting of this video itself, I told that actual processes are not coincide or matching with the conditions what we are assuming in the ideal cycle processes. Like you are thinking that in boiler constant pressure is prevailing, it has to prevail. Okay, only at constant pressure all the water should be converted to steam, right? Okay, but it is not happening so. It is not happening so. Okay, and next, turbine. You are assuming that reversible and adiabatic condition is being followed in the turbine. Or the process is very slow, so that it could be achieved the condition of reversibility, and adiabatic means no heat is entering into the system, leaving the system, no heat leakage, turbine is working with 100% efficiency, always it is looking as a new turbine, no blade erosion, no wear and tear, no loss of steam. How much amount of steam which you are giving into the turbine is exactly converted into work, like that you are assuming so many things. Okay, but it is not so in actual cycle processes. And in condenser also you are getting, as you had in boiler, you are of course getting the pressure loss because of the piping, especially the piping arrangement made for the heat transfer either from liquid to gas or gas to liquid. When the heat is transferred from one place to another place, and also so many lines of piping could not be achieving or maintaining the same pressure, it is not at all possible. So in condenser also it is not maintaining the constant pressure, and further pump. Okay, of course you know very well, I told so many times that the pump is a work consuming device. Okay, so of course by the paperwork or the ideal cycle we would have calculate the power requirement of the pump to raise the pressure from liquid to boiler pressure, right? That is the purpose of the pump, is nothing but it has to raise the water from atmospheric pressure to boiler pressure. Okay, of course we would have calculated the power, that is rate of power required by the pump between these pressure limits, but it is not so. It needs higher and higher version of higher amount of power rate. The reasons would be explained in the next video. Thanks for patient listening. Continue the same topic in the next video. Thank you. I am Suja signing off.